excerpt taken from something called the Annex, which you can find in a little book over there called the Deluxe. And it's kind of a distilled version of what's going on at the end of that book over there. So it's called Only Skin Deep. Today I become an adult under the cloud of my father's death. I feign the words of a speechless beginning, 1,000 miles away from his body, as his cat steps delicately over his juicy head to piss in her litter box that is nestled between the washer and the dryer on the sunset side of my dad's still body. He lay soiled by his own inner workings, face down on the bathroom floor in his all-alone home, his Pendleton collar sponging up his brain leak, facial muscle sacs releasing and piling up on one another, eyes glossed, gazing, while outside the late summer simmers his last sultry breath before autumn takes him away. Inside, silence, save the whine of the cat. I awake with a voice in my head, and then it falls into my sleepy ears. I know that these words are from the dead. They're floating down into tangible places that I can accept as real. I pluck these transmissions from my tangled hair and bead them into bracelets that I can finger like an old woman's rosary. Then I board a plane called home to claim my dad's body, now casked in a stranger's refrigerator. I sit knee-knocked like a third grader, staring at the buckles on my shoes. The funeral home carpeting beneath my feet plays tricks on my brain with its pseudo-soothing ivy and tulip collage. I look down and I worry that 37 is probably too old to be wearing Doc Martin Mary Janes. As I gaze down, the lenses of my thick glasses slowly fill like an underwater town in a movie I once saw. I am ushered into a room with men and black suits and desks and papers and pens and choices. Words fall from my lips, it seems. I speak. It echoes. I stare. Did I say something? I think. On the other side of this desk, I close my eyes where I can see him again, in one piece, dry and hair-combed, reading me a bedtime story when I was still afraid of the dark and the dead. He opens the cover of a book I've never seen before and reads. Pain is best served in large doses inside this lonely house. He leans in closer, taking the book into our laps. It is death playing darkness over the man splayed out on the bathroom tiles. The gray grout, soiled brown and red, pucker under the din of the reaper's gluttonous shadow. The corners of Sir Death's cloak mutate and begin to devour what lies left of a mortal man. From the armpits, the epidermis is filleted from the tender old muscles that open for a succulent snack. From arm to ankle, the body becomes a meaty feast for the soil. And then, after a detailed inspection of eyes, hair, and tongue, Death continues his deconstruction, pausing only to insert his salty tongue into the black decomposition of a lung. The remainder is left for the undertaker, who will harvest the body for what can be trimmed, pinned, and photographed. My dad closes the book. Inside this Midwest hotel room, I spread my father's life as a museum of regret, and it's nearly 1 a.m. Piles of papers, separated by importance, leak brown cigarette smoke and nagging sighs of confusion. Outside, the wasting summer bends to September. Katydids pop off night songs that drown out the hum of the air conditioner. My father's drunk handwriting on checks and backs of envelopes stare at me from a pile on the floor. This paperwork is all I have now. Room 207 of the Days Inn is quite cozy compared to his house, now haunted with the ghosts of his final days. In the past 9 days, I have aged 1,000,000 years. A pool of bodily fluid that crept under the washing machine last week now has the consistency and odor of a thick, cherry pus-colored dessert sauce that haunts the edges of my nostrils. A week has gone by in this town that's too tiny for a 7-Eleven. The dusk-singing insects have gone quiet in the death of the old season. I'm sitting in my dad's kitchen chair. I'm listening to classical music, and I begin to feel the cold in autumn. The bird feeders out back have been removed, and I can imagine the snow streaming across the window frame in less than 2 months. This rolling kitchen chair, littered with cigarette burns, catches on the tiles of the kitchen floor as I scoot it closer to the table where he sat, smoking and drinking, playing cards, and listening to the radioed ramblings of the Michigan militia. Most of his home is emptied now, of everything that I want or need for legal reasons. The closets have been gutted, the clothes stacked and packed, and little bits of scraps, tacks, pens, and nails dumped into the garbage. The shotgun near the back door has been emptied, and the cat with her cat fangs left on Wednesday with a friend of my cousin's, someone I've never seen before. My job here is finished. I hand the bag containing my father's ashes over to a sky porter as I board a plane to San Francisco. I don't want to hand it over, but there's no room on this tiny plane. In a tearing, broken voice, I ask him to be careful with my dad. The tears become rocks that curl into my eyeglasses like boulders, and I mop my face with a paper towel that I shoved into my coat pocket as I left my dad's kitchen for the last time. Finally, the fat rubber wheels on this plane put me down on the San Francisco asphalt. I am a quiet mourner. I move slow and I want to be left alone. Pushed for a response, I become unrecognizable. Grief is an unattractive beast whose talons tear into the muscles of the afflicted. His coarse hooks grasp at lips and cheeks and brow, contorting the face into bizarre concoctions. For the first time, I realize I will never see my dad again. I am orphaned, and no amount of money or candy will ever fix this fucking nightmare.